So yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Temtem is my highest played Steam game. You guessed 200 hours,
250, I think.
250 hours. Well, I have 815 hours on that game.
And it's like a dupe for Pokemon,
It's
right?
not a dupe. So that's like a
Yeah.
really watered
Tim.
down
Okay.
Temtem. It's a really watered down way to
Tim
put it.
Tam.
Temtem,
I know, but
Temtem
I'm laughing at myself because Tim Tam is
is a
the
snack. Yeah.
yeah, in Australia.
So
Tim Tam?
basically, Temtem, yeah. It's kind of a dead game now because the developers started working on other projects. But it was like it came out like right in like 20 like right around in came out officially released in 2022. It was like in a year or two before that it was in early access and all that stuff. And basically it's a creature collector. The difference with this, like between this and Pokemon, is like the reason why I liked it as well is is difficult. Like it is a difficult like it's spec towards like, you play Pokemon, you can kind of like you can roll up to the gym with with decent level Pokemon that's like close to their level and like all this stuff. And you roll up to the gym and just like run through it. Like even if you don't necessarily have super effective moves. This, no, like you have to like kind of strategize every gym. They're called dojos, same difference. But you have to strategize with them and it's like actually super difficult, which is why I liked it. And they're all obviously unique. Some of them do kind of look like some Pokemon, but like and it has a pretty good story. Like, that kind of thing and all that fun stuff. And I don't know, it was super fun. I played a lot of like once you played through the main story, there was like in the game there's like clubs that you could be a part of.
Hmm.
And like it used to be every week when it originally came out, and they've watered it down to like every month because people didn't want to play that much, but it was Club Wars. So like it would there would be like in each of the islands that were in the game, there would be a multiplayer dojo type thing, and you would like defend like you would fight in a big tournament of like all the clubs that enter, and it would be like you're like 9 people that sign up versus their 9 people that sign up. You battle each other, best of three, all that stuff. And then whoever ends up winning throughout the week on the Sunday wins the dojo for the week and like controls it and like all this kind of stuff. And like so like get money for the club and distribute it out and all this kind of stuff. Like it kind of just did a lot of things that I thought would maybe be fun for like what I wanted out of Pokemon. It was
Yeah.
one of my buddies got me into it, and it was really cool. But then like they kind of stopped. They started working on their second game, which is like it's like a bullet hell game, but with Temtem characters. People didn't really like it. I didn't really mess with it, and
Temtem
so they stopped.
Swarm. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
Temtem Swarm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like they kind of stopped not like they stopped caring about the game as much. So then like it died down.
Hmm.
Like I don't know how many concurrent players it has anymore, but I mean it was peaking like pretty healthy community, like super well received and all that stuff. It was a fun game, but yeah, I played it a lot, obviously.
I was gonna say how many totality? What 800 and something?
A lot of that too, though. A lot of that too. Maybe not a lot, but a big chunk of that would be like shiny hunting, because they had like a mechanic where you could get a radar, and it's for the next. I want to say it's 200 encounters. If you're in an area where that Temtem spawns, you'll only like have that spawn, and for the next 200 encounters, it increases your shiny odds and all this stuff, and like better stats and all that stuff. And then like so a lot of that time, like I don't know, maybe not all of it, but a big chunk of that time is just running around trying to catch shinies. But still, that's my most played. My second most is Counter Strike 2 with 582 hours, but that's over like 12 years.
I was gonna say that's
Because
a little bit more
it
palatable given the type
it
of game.
Well, that's also it swapped over the Counter-Strike Go hours. So, like
Mm.
and then, yeah. So, like, what you said what was your, most played game on there? Dispatch?
On Steam, yes,
Yeah, on
Dispatch.
Steam. So,
Mhm.
okay. How many hours?
Let's see. I think it was 19.
My gosh.
Listen, I'm not really a Steam game person. Like, I'm trying to be. And just for clarity for the listeners at home, I've had my ROG Ally X for a year and a half at this point. So it's not bad. Like, not bad for me, at least. So, and keep in mind, I have a Switch 2, I've got the Xbox, I've got PlayStation 5. So I spread my time throughout all of
Yeah,
my consoles, and it
that's
kind of
not an
depends on where
indictment.
I'm at, too. So, yeah.
I have 23 games on my Steam library that I've played more hours than you have on.
My God, Gavin, I think you need an intervention. I'm just kidding. That's why you're on this podcast is because we appreciate your
You need the Steam? Yeah, the
yeah.
Steam love.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a lovely segue. Lengthy
Into the
segue.
topic of this
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. So I'll kick us off and because you'll probably take most of this, Gavin, since you've been obviously super intimate with Steam over the years. But guys, what we're going to be talking about today is just the history behind Steam, and kind of how it's a juggernaut in the PC gaming market and just how that came to be. I think at this point, and Gavin, you could correct me if you think otherwise, but I feel like PC gaming and Steam are almost like the same thing. Like when you think about it from like an optics perspective, I think everybody in the gaming community that plays PC, you can almost say Steam and it would be the exact same like vernacular. It's basically
I
hand in hand at this moment. I mean, there
yeah,
obviously is other launchers, but Steam is the predominant PC
no,
gaming place.
I'd say they're very synonymous with each other. Like
Yeah.
when someone says they play games on PC, you
You just
instantly think
assume
Steam
Steam. Yeah.
because usually if someone plays a game on something other than Steam, they don't say, "Hey, I play this on PC." They'll say,
Right.
"Hey, I played this on the Epic Games launcher." Like they
Right.
specify that it's not Steam. So I think it's very fair to say that those two, like saying games I play games on PC and then saying I play games on Steam, those are synonymous. Like I would definitely that is not a big leap to say.
Yeah. So what we'll be doing today is going through the history of Steam, kind of when it busted out on the market and how it kind of sunk its teeth into the PC gaming community. So Gavin, I'll actually pass it over to you in terms of just like the history that's involved there.
Yeah, I mean, the Steam service was first released as a software back in 2003, and it was originally for like It was created by Valve. You know, Steam, Valve, kind of makes sense with it. You know, Steam comes from the Valve. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So originally, they created it as a platform to like have their games on, to like host their games on, and then like eventually I think they realized what the cash, like not necessarily a cash cow, but they realized how good it would be or beneficial it would be to have a unified like library. Kind of like if you think about it, like the consoles have that already because it's on the console. So it's like almost like creating a console without creating a console. And so I think it was back in 2005 they started letting third party developers have access to it. And then originally, it was only Windows only, which is why it used to be a running joke in the gaming community that like if you had a Mac, you didn't play. You said you were a gamer, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what's your computer?" And you said a Mac, you would get laughed at because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, you don't play games on Mac." Eventually, it did come. They have a Mac and Linux access to it. Didn't come out till 2010, 2013.
Which I think is funny because when I was streaming back in college, this would have been 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Mac is all I had access to. And so I was playing Steam games on my Mac. And keep in mind, it was a Mac laptop too. Like it was a MacBook
Well,
Pro.
that's
So it
rough.
wasn't great. But I mean, it did the job for me at the time. So not to cut you off, but
No,
I just
that's
think it's interesting that it came out around that time. And I kind of just
yeah.
assumed
You
it was
just
a
lucked
thing for
in.
a while.
Yeah, yeah. You like kind of lucked into it a little bit. But yeah, basically, Steam has become it slowly grew due to I think due to having the third party games on it and allowing them to license it on there. They kind of like created it and they wanted it to be like They would allow you to purchase games and other software and like have them virtually install them onto your library, and you can uninstall, reinstall them. You like have that license to them permanently, and then it's unlimited number of times you can download it and uninstall, reinstall. And I think they just wanted to make like digital rights management obsolete, meaning like that it helps prevent piracy because it's controlled where it's at. It kind of, they have product keys, and that's how you can get onto it, get games onto it was with product keys and stuff like that. It kind of helped curb the pirating, because like if the game is pretty much on Steam and it doesn't have its own browser, there was a big problem like way back in the day, like I guess problem, but people would pirate games and you would be able to just play it because it would install the game on your computer and you would have that file on there. So if having to run it through Steam, you can't install I mean, you probably can, but it was a lot harder to install a pirated game through Steam. Also, it allows them to have anti-cheat like programming on there, like ability to like have or catch people to cheat. I mean, it's not as good as some games. Like if you still play Counter-Strike, you know that there's still a really bad problem of people using all sorts of cheats and stuff like that. I mean, when they get caught, they get banned. Like they get their accounts banned, but then they just make another one. But
Right.
so there are some problems with that, but that the idea was to be able to help stop that. It also allowed like the whole platform itself allows the institution of DLCs and like addable content to be like sold and distributed easier than like it used to be.
And stuff.
No, I'm talking like when you like do like extra content, like for example, like the Borderlands games back in the day, they had like their DLCs, like where it's like whole other story, like multiple other stories that were add-ons to the game. Whereas like on consoles and stuff, it was a little bit harder to do. Sometimes they did physical release of it. Sometimes they did digital download of it. It was like kind of hard. Where like way back in the day, that's how they would have to do it. But when you do everything on Steam, it just shows up. I mean, if you go on the store now, it'll even show you DLC that you can add on to it. You just download it, and it automatically installs it into that. It kind of streamlines everything. I mean, it's made it a lot easier to like manage everything. It's it's got good user interface. All the indie games that have come, all the indie darlings, get put on Steam, and that's how they blow up. I mean, look at like your Cupheads, your Dispatch. Like it seems like if you want a game to be popular on PC, it has to be on Steam, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think
So
Steam does a really good job for the community to promote indie games. The only thing I will say is due to the amount of indie games on Steam, it's hard to stand out unless you have a pretty decent marketing budget, just to be honest. Because like just looking at the Steam homepage right now, a lot of the pretty well-known games, I mean like Counter-Strike 2, for example, like we just talked about how much time you've spent on that game. It's right on the homepage. Field's on there, Diablo 4's on there, Split Fiction, like these are all big games, so it is hard to stand out, but I will say it's a lot easier to get your content out there, and Steam's made that available. So
yeah. Well, one thing that's happened within this is probably last 4 or 5 years that I've noticed of ways games get noticed is like they utilize streamers, like Twitch streamers and stuff like that.
True.
Like one of the guys I watch a lot of, Northern Lion, he plays these games, and like when he he's the reason I've discovered a lot of those roguelike games, because he plays it. I watch him play. This game looks incredible. I play it. It's incredible. And like, or they play all those sorts of games, and it's been a new way of like advertising for it. And then like, oh, it's on Steam. Yeah, boom, easy to get to. So like, and that's been like I said, within the last 4 years or so, it's been like a breakthrough. Like sometimes these developers even like unironically build the game with those creators in mind, and then like we'll either give them keys to the game so they can play it early and then stream it, and like when they do that, the streamers do have to disclose that they're running a ad it like this is ad.
Yeah.
Like I got paid to play this, so like with the whole distribution thing, so it's not like misleading or anything.
Right.
But it's really cool because that's how you discover a lot of games. Also, I've discovered a couple games this way. If you go into the store, there's a discovery queue, and it kind of goes based on games you've installed. It can tell what you've been playing lately, obviously, like sees what games you've been playing, and then it recommends games based on that. That are new releases, old releases, everything in between. There's a new one I've been looking at. It's kind of like Balatro, but with chess pieces instead. It's called Gam Bonanza. Looks fun. Yeah. I mean, it's a chess roguelike, so I don't know if it would be quite up your alley there, Dylan. It just dropped this month, but it's basically yeah, like kind of like Balatro with chess, like where you're roguelike deck building, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I haven't played chess in years, but
I also have not played really. I played at a when I was at a wedding a couple weeks ago, played late night in the morning after the wedding. There was a chessboard at this bar we were at, so we played chess, and I was not very good, but I
I was
toughed
gonna
it out and
say,
finished the game.
what do you have?
It was not a good game. It was not a good game of chess.
That's not an after wedding game,
No,
but
it was fun though.
I'm
But
sure it
yeah,
was. I don't even know that I would be able to see the pieces on the board, but that's okay.
yeah, it was tough. But basically, I don't know. All that to say that honestly, you could find a game for anything on Steam. That's which is
Yeah.
the cool thing. Is like
Right.
there's literally
Discoverability is really fun.
yeah. You could scroll through and you'll see a game. You're like, what in the heck is this?
Yep. Very cool. Right. Should we transition into like what makes Valve so good at this kind of thing? Like, I
I
mean, we've
mean,
kind of been talking a little bit about it,
yeah.
but
I feel like some of the
what
things
is
they
so
do well.
nice?
Yeah, basically some of the things they do well is it streamlines it streamlines and localizes the gaming like platform, so it makes everything in one easy to find place, which is nice. They've gotten a lot better, like it's pretty secure, like with your account is secure with
Yeah.
factor authentication because like people, have stuff saved, so like it's really they make it kind of hard to lose your account, like, because I know some people worry about that. They do a really good job with, like, every season and every, like, kind of holiday. They do sales on sales on sales. Like, if you look here for Memorial Day coming up, is probably going to be a Steam sale. And then this is really how they suck you into it because they're like, man, this game that you thought about buying 2 years ago is now 50% off. You might as well buy it. I mean, I have a litany of games that I bought purely because they were on the Steam sale. They used to do this thing with this website called the Humble Bundle, where they would
Mhm.
bundle games together. I have a lot of games that I've gotten from the Humble Bundle because it's like $20 for this bundle, and in that bundle, you'll have one game that you wanted that's normally like $25, but they bump it down to $20. But then they pack in these games that like you might never
Love.
play. You might never play, but they're packaging it in there to, like, get visibility to it, and they kinda, like which I don't even know if the Humble Bundle is um,
Look.
still around, but, you have, like, that, you have, like, third-party sites such as G2A, which is, like, it's kind of like a gray market for keys, like, they're not, it's not illegal, but it's like it feels like a little gray market on it, but where you can get like
Mhm.
cheaper prices on stuff. I know a lot of people that have gotten stuff through there. Most of the games on Valve do support in-game microtransactions, so like there's possible for that. Like at Counter-Strike, you have your cases and your keys to open up the skins and all that stuff. Like we kind of talked about last week, you can go on Steam right or you can go on Twitch right now, probably look up to see if someone is streaming Counter-Strike, and there's a good chance one of them's just opening cases and not even playing the game.
Mhm.
But other than that, I
But
feel like they
yes,
do
Humble Bundle is a thing.
still around?
Still
Okay.
a thing. Yep, they even have a
Okay.
spring sale May 7th through the 28th.
Nice. But yeah, they kinda like, they've really good community outreach, like, they have, like, pretty consistent with, like patching stuff and like fixing it and listening to the gamers like issues. I
Mm.
think they have their own like I do think they do a really good job of like at the end of every year they do like their own Steam awards. Like, there's the game awards and stuff like that. And they I think the game awards feel like more like kind of like the Oscars. It's like not necessarily the best game wins every year, but it
Yeah,
feels kind of
the
like with
ones that get the most attention.
exactly, which sometimes that is the best game, but like sometimes it's like that why did that win? But whereas with the awards on Steam, it's 100% fan voted and it's like there's a nomination week or what I don't know if it's exactly a week, but there's a nomination period where all you do is you're nominating games for categories. And then once they compile all of that, they break it down into actual votes and then you vote. And it kind of feels like usually when you see the Steam Awards, every one of those games is like, oh, that was like maybe that wasn't my cup of tea, but I see why that won because it's truly worthy. And, I think they just do a lot of things right and they kind of mess like if they mess up, they quickly fix it.
Right. They're very consumer centric from what I've seen.
Yeah,
Meaning they try to do what's best by the gamer, but also what's best by the developer. Like, again, making it easily accessible for their games to be published and accessible or discoverable, I should say. They just released the Steam controller. So they're really trying to now lean into kind of like the console gaming market and make it easier for people to feel comfortable coming into the PC gaming market, which I've appreciated personally because really, I mean, when I was doing my streaming, I kind of did Steam because that was the place to go at the time for PC gaming. But really, after that, I kind of strayed away from it because I'm not typically a keyboard and mouse kind of player. And that was kind of synonymous at the time with Steam and PC gaming. And now I think, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in the PC gaming community that do still poo poo, using controller, which I get.
true. It's
I
true.
get it. But at the same time, like for me, just from what I've grown up with as a console player through and through, it's nice that there's more accessibility
So
options with controllers.
some games just genuinely feel better with a controller. Like
Yeah.
it's like it just like a prime example of a game it wasn't originally on Steam, but it was put on Steam and like Spider-Man. That game, I tried to play with mouse and keyboard just to see what it feel like.
It's
It
not
just doesn't
right.
feel right because it wasn't designed for that originally. Obviously, it was PlayStation exclusive, but it's just some games are designed for a controller, and like there's some games I bought and it says like, "Hey, this game is best experienced with a controller" because the developers aren't afraid, which is nice. Like, I
Yeah.
think developers aren't afraid to allow people to use controllers, which is cool.
I was just about to say that. I just played Mixtape over the weekend and they started that as hey, this game is best played on a controller, which I appreciated because I actually downloaded on my handheld.
Mhm.
And I was going to play it with keyboard and mouse because I played Dispatch with keyboard and mouse, and I actually preferred Dispatch with keyboard
Yeah, I
and mouse,
think that one
especially with
makes
like
more
the clickable
sense.
components. Yeah, I did try to play it with a controller at one point, but I guess to your point, I just appreciate that one, the developer was upfront, like, hey, the best experience you can have is with a controller because we developed it that way. But also, two, I do like the fact that it's not so taboo anymore to play a
Mhm.
controller with Steam games, which is nice.
Yeah. And then one of the big things that was reason why Steam is like the cream of the crop as far as
Yeah.
like gaming platforms is the Steam Workshop. So if you guys don't know what that is, yeah. It's a service, excuse me. It is a service that allows users to make user shared content on it, most famously known for mods to games. Like
Mm,
specifically, like the big one that everyone thinks of is Skyrim. There's a mod for everything. Like you can
same
add
here.
lightsabers, yeah, Fallout, but like Skyrim, you can add lightsabers to the game. You can add guns to the game. You could change the dragons into Thomas the Tank Engines. You can add like Crash Bandicoot as a companion. You can add Sonic the Hedgehog. Like people take time out of their day and they literally program this stuff and then like as like a labor of love, like here, have it out in the world. Like it's just it adds like another layer of like the game that makes it fun. And some of the most popular games of all time have been created because of stuff like that. Like Dota 2 was their third ever published title, but it was like it had customizable stuff and it was inspired by a gold farming form in like World of Warcraft. It was like kind of inspired off of that. And then because of Dota 2, League of Legends was created. Like it kind of snowballed off of that. And like the workshop is where the community or the Steam Workshop is also where like all the weapon skins for Counter Strike get created. Like it's literally just people create stuff and then like a Valve will take a look at it and then like they'll have people vote on like what do you like, and then they make collections of skins and that's what they actually put into the game, and they pay the people who made it. So like there's actually like graphic designers and stuff that get paid to like literally make skins for that game. I'm sure it's very hard to do, but like hard to get that done. But like, yeah, the Steam Workshop is a great place for that because it's literally like Baldur's Gate 3 is another prime example of mods for everything. Like one of the coolest ones that was like not even like that invasive of a mod. It was like literally like better hair. All it was is just gave you more hair optimization or more hair options on your character customization in the beginning of the game. And then also they added more D&D classes that are like from D&D that weren't in Baldur's Gate. So they added those. People I don't know if it's quite done yet, but there's a team of people working on creating an entire new campaign in Baldur's Gate 3. That was like literally it's just basically like it'll essentially a free DLC, but it's a mod that you install. And they took all the assets from Baldur's Gate 3 and created it their own campaign. Like
Well, I was
it's
gonna
just
say Fallout London was the most recent like mod community build. It
uh-huh,
was literally a full game
uh-huh,
based off, I think it was the Fallout 4 engine that they used.
probably maybe 76, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
yeah, it's really cool. Like
It's incredible, yeah. Just the infrastructure they give you.
yeah, it's like it's basically a giant sandbox within like what you're able to do.
Right. Pretty cool. I guess a couple questions that we'll round out with. When do you feel like you got exposed to Steam, Gavin? Because I feel like both of us, we kind of started our journeys as console gamers for the most part.
I would say like college. College is probably when I got into like PC gaming in general. Like because I had a
What
laptop.
I was gonna say, what rig were you playing on it? Was it a gaming laptop or was it
Yeah,
you
it was
could
just
trade?
a regular lap. It was the laptop I had for school,
Okay,
but I
same here.
played.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like it was just an HP laptop. It wasn't like a gaming one or anything. But that I mean, most games on Steam are made to be able to run on like the lowest possible like system at the time. So like they're pretty good about that. But yeah, I've been on Steam for probably 15 years now.
yeah,
Yeah, it's probably won't ever turn back, you know. It's
yeah. It's got the PC market on lock, I think, for sure.
for sure.
So, but yeah, I think the overall sentiment too of Steam in the community is pretty much everybody that I talks to has a pretty good feeling about Steam. I feel like there's people out there that like don't necessarily like what Sony's doing. Some people don't like what Nintendo's doing. Some people don't like what Xbox is doing. But I feel like for the most part, I've never really heard anybody like complain about Steam. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm sure there's deep in like the ether
Yeah.
somebody that's not happy with Steam, but I feel like for the most part they do a pretty good job of keeping a good brand. And one of the things I was going to call out too that I think makes Steam so successful is that it's privately held. It's all
Yeah.
owned by the employees. There's no market pressure that they feel necessarily. And so they can really do what's right by their employees. They can do what's right by their consumers. They can do right by their fans. And I think that makes a huge difference when we think about just their image and how successful they really are. So
Yeah.
it's a small company too. I want to say Valve is like, I want to say it's less than 1,000 employees. I'm looking now, but
Yeah. Another thing, I feel like the one biggest complaint that really Valve gets, it's not necessarily a Steam thing, it's more of a Valve thing, is the fact that
Yeah.
they don't ever make more than 2 of a game. It's
Mhm.
kind of like a joke. They made Half-Life, one of the best games of all time. They made the sequel, which is even effing better. Like, that's also one of the best games of all time. And now everyone's like, well, for 20 plus years now, where's Half-Life 3? Every Gamer Awards comes up,
Mhm.
Half-Life 3, Half-Life 3. Same thing with Portal. Portal, one of the most
Portal 1 and
innovative
2.
games of all time. Portal 2, the same thing, but now you get it with co-op. Where's my Portal 3? Like, it's so funny they make these, like, the greatest
Banger
games
games.
ever, absolute heaters, and it's like, why can they never make more than 2 of a game?
Right. Yeah. Well, just to circle back on the employee size too, they are up to 350 people. So, Gavin, you've played more hours on Temtem than the amount of employees that work at Steam. How do you feel?
Yeah. I mean,
Feels pretty good.
feels I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
See, you've got Half-Life, Half-Life 2, you've got Team Fortress, Team Fortress 2,
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
Counter-Strike,
didn't
that one's a
realize
little
Half-Life was a
different.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike's a little different because you had, like, Source, Go, like, so there's kinda been more than 2 there, but
Yeah. Well, I was gonna throw in Half-Life Alex too. It was a VR spinoff of the Half-Life,
when
but
that
it's kind
got
of like a
teased
1.5 or 2.
when that got teased, people were super pissed because they thought it was gonna be 3. They're like, "Oh, it's finally happening," because 'cause they're like, "Half-Life news." My gosh. Yeah, and then turns out it was just the VR game. People were like, the streets were pissed with that one. Like, that was a yeah, you had your Half-Life 2, Half-Life, Portal 2, Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 2,
Mm-hmm.
another 2 absolute bangers of a game. Like, they literally cannot make more than 2 of a game. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I think they learned from their success, so there you go. So, anyways, should we wrap it up there?
Yeah. I feel like,
Well,
did a little quick one for the
yeah, for the listeners at home. Well, yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for putting together some of the talking points here too, Gavin. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
And let us know in the comments too, guys, like what's your impression of Steam? I feel like I said, most people are very positive in terms of sentiment towards Steam. Maybe tell us if you feel otherwise. I could say that the only frustration I have with Steam is, to Gavin's point earlier, is the Steam sales and taking my money. But
Which is a weird, nice frustration.
yeah, exactly. So my backlog of games. But anyways, yeah, let us know in the comments like what your general impression of Steam is. If you have
What's
any kind
your
of like fun stories with Steam.
yeah, what's your favorite Steam game that you've ever
There you
played?
go. Yeah. Yeah, maybe one thing I will say to tailor that as well is like, what's a game that you've played on Steam that's not available anywhere else too? What do you think, Gab?
A Counter-Strike?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm,
just
I don't know what I would say.
let's see, Counter-Strike, Slay the Spire 2 is not available anywhere else now, it will eventually be. But yeah,
I
I
was gonna
mean,
say I played Witchfire for a little bit for those that are know that get that game. Anyhow, yeah, leave it in the comments to let us know like what you're playing or what you've played that's like your top game on Steam or whatever you want. And then of course, make sure you subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Make sure that we are spreading the wealth of this podcast. As long as you're enjoying it, we'd love to hear your feedback. And keep in mind, guys, too, we did change schedules a little bit with these postings. So we're going to try to do every 2 weeks. We'll do kind of an episode like this. We might try to do some content in between just to keep you guys satiated. But let us know in the comments what you guys would like to hear from us in the future. And then, as always, stay safe, keep playing games, and have fun.